Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
The San Diego Council on Literacy brings you Literacy for All with your host, Jose Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cruz from the San Diego Council on Literacy. You're listening to Literacy for All, and this is a radio show for literacy. And today we're talking to Jabez LeBret. He is the Chief of Schools for Sisu Academy. Jabez, welcome to the show. So glad to have you. Just want to make sure that we get some of the basic information down, and that people want to know the mission of your organization and just and why you're doing what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about Sisu Academy, why the name, and what it does.
You know, it's interesting. The name, I think, kind of embodies what our whole entire program is. So the word Sisu is a Finnish term. And there's no direct English translation, but it stands for grit, determination, perseverance, like that stick-to-itness. That for us, that really embodies kind of what we hope that our students gain as they come out of our program, but also recognizing what they have coming into our program. So Sisu Academy is a brand new tuition-free boarding school for underserved and disengaged youth here in San Diego. And, you know, if you end up on our doorstep, that means that you've had some stuff going on in your life. And you've probably, I think, gained some of that grit and that determination, that sisu,
right.
and maybe you didn't even know it. And we just want to channel that into a good, positive education experience.
You know, we need that word. And so who found that? Was that one that you found? Or is there a parent organization? Is there the roots of the Sisu Academy come from you or from...
Well, so my wife found the name in a lot of our research, and you know the Finnish culture in Finland has actually really amazing educational system. And so early on, about 4 years ago, when we started doing research around what would be some programs and methods that we could look at for kind of solving this disconnected youth problem and really addressing some of those students who are kind of falling through the cracks. You know, maybe their low performance on their testing scores or their grades are, you know, in the toilet. It could be for a lot of reasons, right? They could their food insecurity. Maybe they're, you know, have some sort of a home situation that's causing disruption in their life that's preventing them from being able to learn. And you know, we said, all right, let's go see if we can solve this problem. And the name itself just kind of came out of the research that we were doing.
Is it simplifying things to say that you're providing boarding for students, and that boarding helps to address maybe some of the environmental issues that they're dealing with in their community?
Absolutely. You know, there's a few components. So there's not a lot of boarding schools in California, not a lot in San Diego area. And boarding's interesting. Most boarding schools, as we kind of all grew up, I think, in
military, right?
Yeah, like it's either military school, like you're shipping somebody off to military school, or it was something like Hogwarts or some like really fancy private, you know, boarding school somewhere. And we decided that if we really wanted to adequately address the needs of the individual learner, the student, we need to make sure that we're providing an environment that is safe, that has community, and that provides us the time necessary to be able to invest the energy into creating a whole student that ends up graduating as a game changer, not just someone who's just getting pumped through a system, but how do we actually help this, you know, young man or woman go through high school and then come out ready to tackle the world. Boarding allows us to do social emotional work. It allows us to work on networking and public speaking and financial literacy and relationship skills and communication skills and all these things that we want our young men and women to have. And it can be challenging for them to get that at home sometimes. So, you know, we're not looking to take the student far away from home. That's why we're just doing San Diego Youth here in San Diego. And so we can still maintain a close relationship with the family unit while also providing an amazing education.
I know you have big plans, but tell us at least where you are right now. What is actually taking place in San Diego County around the mission of Sisu Academy?
Yeah, San Diego's an amazing place for education. And it really, you know, my wife and I moved down here from the Bay Area specifically for this project because we identified San Diego as a place that is the right place for this kind of project because we have the right mix of innovative education solutions happening in both public, private, charter, on all of those programs. You're seeing schools like Design 39 and High Tech High's been around for 20 years. There's so many, the VITA program up in Vista. There's so many programs that are so beneficial to education as a whole that we said this would be a great place for another innovative school that's addressing a specific type of problem. We've been planning for about 4 years. My wife left her job about 18 months ago. I sold my company about a year ago. And, we both jumped in full time, recruited a bunch of amazing educators, got an amazing board of a bunch of different educators. And again, we just surrounded ourselves with educators and said, all right, let's all put our heads together and come up with some sort of solution that can actually, address some of these problems. And so we start with our first small group of students next year, which is really exciting because we're finally ready to start getting some students. I mean, I love planning. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I'm ready to start actually doing some of the teaching and get the students in the door.
Yeah, and so it does take a lot of patience and making connections and such. You're relatively new to the area, is that correct?
Yeah, so we just moved down not even 2 years ago, and so we're very new to San Diego, and we've really enjoyed getting to know the community and have felt like it's a very welcoming place.
Very good, very good. Tell us one question that I meant to ask, and that is, what is the age range that you're targeting for the students who would go into the residency, right?
Yeah, so for right now, we're targeting high school. So we're looking to do 9th through 12th grade students. And most of our students, they're not the students who are overachieving in school right now. They're like I said earlier, for whatever reason, life's getting in the way and they're just not performing well. And that's going to be a middle school. So they're underperforming in 8th grade.
Right.
And they're probably students that are trending towards possibly dropping out of high school. And so we're trying to catch them before that happens and then bring them into this program and be able to give them that solid core education, project-based learning, problem solving, design thinking, and really carry them through the rest of their education journey.
And I guess people would want to know what would be your criteria? How would you select students? How would you know who to bring into the program? Because you want, resources one is always a thing, right? That you want to make sure that you're using your resources in the best way possible, the best that you're doing the screening of students, if that's the right word. The more you'll save, and the more the better use you'll get out of what you have. So what are the ways that you perceive this is how we're finding people? This is who will work. These are folks who might not fit what we have in mind here.
Yeah, you go to any educator in a middle school and an administrator, a principal, a teacher, a counselor, and you say, hey, do you have a list of any students who are at high risk of potentially not completing high school? And they'll say, do you have a few minutes? Let me get my pen out. Yeah. And there's a long list of students who you would identify as vulnerable for whatever situation. And so you start there, and you start with this broad list of students who may have a need for this kind of program. This isn't the kind of school where people are forced to go. Yeah. This is a school where really the student has to opt in, and we want parental support, and not in the form of money, for tuition free specifically, so that the folks who can't afford it don't have to worry about paying for it. And you can't buy your way into our program. It really is all about making sure the student's the right fit for the program. And the majority of our students are coming from underserved populations, and that means that those students wouldn't be able to afford it even if they wanted to. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't deserve access. And so certainly a lot of home visits, get out there in the community, go meet with the parents, meet with the teachers and counselors, meet with the students, interviews. Really it's a pretty comprehensive process to determine who is a good fit for the program.
And you have that process in place?
We do, yeah. So we have a whole process in place. Fortunately, there's other organizations like San Diego Center for Children who's, is working with us to help us on some testing. Because we really can't do aptitude testing isn't the right test for this kind of program. We're trying to find the students who aren't doing well in school. So we're not trying to say, hey, can you pass this, really difficult aptitude test and then they qualify in. That's not it at all. But things like empathy, character traits and whatnot really play a big role into. It's a boarding school. Yeah. We want to make sure that we have the right type of student from an emotional perspective as well.
And you just mentioned San Diego Center for Children, and it hadn't occurred to me. I mean, this is maybe an ideal population. If I'm not mistaken, this particular organization provides maybe housing, temporary housing, the foster kids being residents of this particular agency. You would be able to provide housing and an environment where there's support built into the program.
Yeah, we see ourselves as kind of an augmenting program to a lot of the programs already in place. So you've got the Terry School for students that suffer from autism. You've got San Pasquale for students who are in the foster system. You've got Monarch Schools for students who are homeless, which is an amazing program. San Diego Center for Children for students who are dealing with behavioral issues on a broad spectrum. And we see ourselves as kind of that next layer, right? Yeah. So there's a layer of students that are falling through the cracks because they don't quite meet the qualifications for some of these other amazing programs. Yeah. And we want to be able to capture those students. And we're just one more layer to that, trying to address some of those problems we have here in our county.
That's quite exciting because we know, even that one population, we know what's taking place, one with age 18 to 24-year-olds that are not in jobs, not in school, maybe didn't get the support that they needed at a particular time. We also know about the number of foster care children who age out, now they're adults. Right. And again, there's no a place for them to transition into employment or housing, et cetera. So you're creating, I don't know if you want to be seen as a safety net, and it's not that. I mean, it's a great concept. And maybe it's not the place where people go, hey, and maybe I can be here and have a place to stay. I think you have a bigger plans than that, but it's a great service.
Yeah, I mean, but it is a little bit of that. I don't think it's unfair to call it a safety net. I mean, so my mother's mentally ill, and when I was 16 years old, I found myself homeless, not through any choices of my own. I wasn't a bad kid. Life was happening to me, and I went to a school with 500 students per class. 2,000 students in the high school. We had one counselor per grade level. Yeah. What is that one counselor supposed to do? Like, how are they adequately supposed to be able to address the issues that my single, life is happening to me?
Well, I remember what it was for my high school counselor. We can come back to those things. You're listening to Literacy for All Radio. I'm Jose Cruz. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more from WS Radio, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Are you a small business or nonprofit? Securing Our eCity Foundation offers free cybersecurity seminars so businesses of every size can become more cyber safe. According to Forbes, just one cybercrime incident can cost a company over $15 million. Protect yourself, your employees, and your business before you fall victim to the nation's fastest growing crime. Go right now to securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book, Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Homeless veterans and their families are suffering and need our support, but many won't ask or don't know that help is within reach. Veterans Community Services is here to help. Amazingly, about 35% of the homeless in our neighborhoods are veterans with families. Low-income veterans or their friends are encouraged to contact Veterans Community Services and reach out for help with housing and other services. Call now, 800-974-9909.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org.
Donate cash, furniture, clothes, and other gently used household items to Father Joe's Villages and get a nice tax break in April. Every donation is tax deductible. Believe you can make a difference. Be Father Joe. Go to neighborhood.org or call 1-800-HOMELESS to donate today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.